So, hey, it's such a joy to be with you guys. Any moments we get together, we love and we treasure, and we're just so grateful for you. And and it's a sweet moment because we're talking about being elders together and being in this. We always have been, but even at the next level, and we're so grateful. And so, Lord, I love you. We're grateful.
I love you guys so much. You always give me warm fuzzies whenever I look at you and around you. Hey, so why don't you tell us, how did you guys meet? Just give us a little bit of the Vincent and Tanya story.
Well, we met in college, met at Baylor. Most people know I was a Baylor football player, but I also was on the Baylor track team throwing the shot put and discus. And it was the spring of 1988, I believe, and I was in the locker room, and somebody walked up to me, this beautiful young lady, and asked me for a ride to church. At least that's what I remember. And so we met. And so she has her version.
No, we were on the track.
Y'all are awesome.
I was on the track team too at Baylor, and I needed a ride to church, and so I was asking people. I'm like, hey, they said, go ask Carpenter. He's the only one around here who goes to church.
Oh.
And so I remember walking down the track. You were in the shot put ring. No, you were in the discus ring. And I asked her, I said, hey, can I, everybody said you go to church. Can I have a ride to church? And that's how we met.
Now, did you have an ulterior motive in that, or were you
That's
just...
a good question.
No, I
Tanya?
wanted to go to church. And I didn't have a car. I didn't have my driver's license in college.
Okay.
Vincent taught me how to drive. He's
Come
taught every
on.
single person in our family how to drive, including his wife.
Wow.
Oh, my
That's amazing.
goodness.
So yeah, so I wanted to go to church, and I didn't have a way to
Okay.
get there. And
So was it love at first sight? What do you
It
think?
was, when we went to church, I remember at Baylor, I saw different young ladies, but I just kept having this sense that I think that they're just a Sunday going person. I didn't know that. I just sensed that. I just kept thinking that. I kept having this thought, they just go to church. And that Sunday I took Tanya to church, I remember thinking, oh, I think she's really living for Jesus. And I remember thinking, when I dropped her off, the thought crossed my mind, she's probably gonna make somebody a good wife. I mean, I wasn't thinking me at that time, but I thought somebody.
It's awesome. I love it.
Love that.
So amazing. Okay, so how long have you guys been married?
in June, June the 12th, it'll be 27 years.
Wow.
27
Yes.
years.
That's amazing.
Yes.
I remember when you guys got married, actually. Yeah, I remember when you guys were engaged and got married.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, congratulations.
Thank
That's
you.
amazing.
Thank you.
Amazing.
Yes.
All right, so now everybody does know the amazing Carpenter family, but why don't you tell us about your kids? Tell us how old they are and the order they go in, and just a little bit about them real quick.
So we have 5 children. Our oldest is Michael, and he is 25, about to be 26. And he is helps with community development. And then our second son, his name is, we call him Tyree, but actually he's Vincent Jr. Very few people know that he's Vincent Jr.
I don't think I knew that. Wow. Okay.
But yes, Tyree, Vincent Jr. So Tyree is married, and he and his wife Alex have blessed us with our first grandbaby.
Yes, one of the cutest little boys
Yes,
in the
he
world.
is.
Actually.
Jackson Michael Wade, Carpenter. And then we have Michelle. She is a senior at Texas State University, and she's studying to be an art education major. And then we have Faith. She just graduated from high school.
Beautiful day yesterday.
Just on the other day, and so she will be a freshman at Baylor this fall. Then we have Emma Grace, and she will be a senior at Bosqueville High School. And then in March we brought in a foster child, Kyrie, and she is 16, and she'll be a junior at Waco High.
Awesome.
Next year.
Wow.
Wow. Well, it sure was fun yesterday. Your kids love each other, and just the way
do.
they
Yeah.
celebrate each other and encourage each other was really beautiful.
Oh, it was fun.
It was really, really sweet. I'm sure you were feeling very
Yeah.
just warm inside. It was a great day.
It was
All right, so why don't you tell us then, when did you come to Antioch? How did that whole story happen? How long have you been here? Just share
Yeah.
that story.
So way back in college days at Baylor, the Sunday school teacher, one of the Sunday school teachers at Highland Baptist Church, was my academic advisor at Baylor, and he asked me how he could help me. and I wanted to learn how to live out my faith. At that time, I had never even heard of this thing called discipleship, and so I told him that, and he said, well, how about we start a discipleship group in your dorm room? And so we did that, and his name was Ed Mooney, taught Sunday school at Highland for many years, and he started discipling me, teaching me how to read my Bible every day and have a devotional time, and he really challenged me to share my faith amongst the Baylor football athletes, and so that really caused me to grow a lot in my walk with Jesus. Then he introduced me to a guy named Bill Adams. He was with Athletes in Action, Campus Crusade at the time, but later became an Antioch missionary. And Bill invested in me, and I helped him with some athlete Bible studies he was doing, and so he really helped me as well grow my faith. And so when Highland first started doing church planting way back in 1990, I went on one of the very first mission trips to Long Day, Russia.
Yeah, wow.
And
Yes.
on the coming back,
Yeah.
that's how we went. We were engaged, we went, and we came back, and we debriefed, I think, in Germany,
Wow.
and Jimmy led the debrief, and that was the first time I ever met a guy named Jimmy Seibert.
Wow.
And he was teaching us how to pray and prophesy, and I thought, wow, this is different, but this was really awesome. So we met there, and I was at another church at the time, but I would invite Jimmy occasionally to come and talk to our church about missions and that kind of thing. So we just kind of had a long distance relationship for about, 2 decades.
Yeah.
Until I felt like God was kind of telling me maybe it's God's leading us to something different. And we actually thought we were leaving Waco and leaving Texas. We were looking to go into some sports ministry, some other places. And but deep inside, I kept thinking the local church, though, was what I was called to. And in that process, out of the blue, I got a phone call from Jimmy saying, hey, we have an opportunity here. And I thought,
Now, I want to butt in here and say, Bill told me Vincent and Tanya are thinking about taking this job in another state. They've transitioned out of their local church because we always honor the local church, and we didn't want to recruit without that closure already happening. And so Bill said, they're leaving like in a week or two. Man, this is our window, you know? And so I said, man, I need to call Vince and offer him a job now. And I just want you to know, I don't do that very often. So that's where I jumped in, because it was a window where you guys were in transition, and I'm so glad I did.
Yeah,
but go ahead.
Yeah. So anyway, he called, and I thought, man, the local church, that's kind of what my heart is, and it was perfect. And so here we are. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So what all roles have you had?
So I started.
What year did you come, and how many
Sure,
years?
I came in 2005, and we call it the Urban Outreach Pastor then. It's called Community Outreach now. And so I was overseeing our Mercy House, our men's drug recovery program. And during that time, we developed the Grace House, our women's drug recovery program. And we had our STARS tutoring program. It was much smaller than it is now. It's grown quite a bit. And we had something called Children's Life Groups back then in the day. And then I probably spent the majority of my time with the community feast. And so we did that dinner and worship service for folks here in the neighborhood, folks all over the city, and I got to minister and love on people. And so that was kind of how I first started. And then during that time, we had some neighborhood life groups that I was overseeing, and eventually I transitioned to start overseeing the family life groups. And so I did that for a number of years and learned to disciple people and see families get the holistic ministry they needed in marriage and kids and all of that. Did that for about 5 or 6 years. And then during that time season when we started building this new facility, Jeff Abshire was pretty busy being our church administrator, and so I kind of came alongside him, kind of assisting him with the facilities and some of the budgeting and just some of the management of some of our staff, and so did that role along with overseeing families for about 5 or 6 more years. And that kept growing and growing and growing like things do around here all the time, and so that role got pretty big. And so I transitioned to a new role, kind of where I'm at now, where I primarily oversee our pastoral staff, our adult pastors, and kind of serve alongside Jimmy and Carla with our teaching team, and then help with our diversity initiatives, and then whatever other places of service that the church needs. So.
Well, you have served us well. And I remember, Tanya, if you remember, when we were sitting together, we were kind of saying, hey, we'd love for you guys to come on. I think, if I remember right, you said there's 3 things that were key to you guys. One was racial reconciliation, or the racial healing issues. Secondly, you said administration, and you said teaching. And so we are not perfect, but you're doing all three of them. All you guys, both of you together.
Yeah.
So, hey, let's just turn this. And lastly, Vincent, you'll be officially, we're going to lay hands on you, install you as an elder in this community. Obviously, your family has honored God together, and we are so proud of you guys. And Tanya, you are the backbone, the support to this man of God, and I know you're always championing him. And but Vince, just take a few minutes and tell us your vision for Antioch. What are you hoping for as an overseer, as a leader? What are your hopes and dreams for us as a community?
Yeah, just back to what I said earlier, what I experienced when I came to Baylor was Ed and Bill discipling me,
right,
helping me to live out my faith in the world, not just on a Sunday at church, but every day, every place, every space, living out my faith, being a follower of Jesus, obeying him and responding to him. That's what I wanted as a college student, and that's what I gained, and that's what I want to see the local church be, disciples and disciple makers. That is what's in my heart. I want to be a person who wants to be able to teach the Word of God and see people respond to God. That's what's in my heart, and that's what I want to see Antioch Community Church, see a community of disciple people who are obediently following Jesus and making disciples. And then along with that, I want to see that amongst all people.
Yes.
I grew up in a homogeneous environment. It was all African American. I came to Baylor and I was in a predominantly Caucasian environment, but I gained a passion for Jesus with my black brothers and sisters. And then I came with my white brothers and sisters and gained this vision for discipleship. And as a college student, it became crystal clear to me. It's like, man, wouldn't it be wonderful to have both these giftings together, both these people groups together? And really, it's broader than just black and white. It's every culture, every ethnicity, every gifting, every age group. I want to see that discipleship factor reproduced amongst all people, because I believe that's what God's heart for the world is, and that's what I want to be a part of. That's my heart for Antioch, to see that vision lived out, and I want to be central to it. So,
And I want to say to both of you, and I know I say this a lot, but it's what we feel on behalf of Laura and I. We can't be who we are without you. And so it is such an honor to then walk together in leadership of this community, not just in influence of this community. We love you.
Yeah, we love you so much. So much.